Morning Dish.
He's the hardest working man in show business. His band's music takes you into the midnight hours. And when you wake up, his voice is back on your radio alarm clock. How on earth did this happen?
Well, Jeff saw me taking out the trash at the radio station.
And he won another award.
But this one is better.
I'm your boogeyman. That's what I am.
It's the Morning Dish with the 2019 Radio Personality of the Year winner, Stephen Phillips.
You paying attention to this, Packy?
And Murphy's own Sherry Raines.
Yeah, you must have given horseback passes to the right guy, Stephen.
Well, giddy up.
And Packy Smith's Shetland pony is right alongside.
You guys know these demo tapes don't just edit themselves together, right?
Well, all right.
3 cheers for Stephen Phillips.
Y'all need to help Stephen Phillips out over there. Out the door and off the radio.
Here's Stephen Phillips.
All righty, folks. We have got an accomplished journalist, editor, writer, field producer. She is a reporter. She has worked with CNN, MSNBC, and she has a column now in the Authority magazine, 5 things you need to know on how to survive and thrive during and after a divorce. And she is also an editor-director on the National Association of Divorce Professionals and co-host of All Things Divorced on Clubhouse. Good morning. How are you? That's a lot. Ilyssa Panitz, how are you?
That was quite a mouthful.
Whew, it just keeps going. I've got more if you want to hear it, but I think you are.
She probably knows already.
Golly, bum. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you guys? Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, we're glad to have you. I guarantee. Of course, we need to know about this divorce stuff because Packy, he's been married about a year, and then Sherry, she's been through it 2-3 times. So
I know all about it.
she knows all about it.
We have to feature you in a column.
There you go.
Nah.
You know, we've got all these folks that's been quarantined during the pandemic, and they're finding out that they don't like their better half, and so that's one of the reasons we just want to have you on here because divorces are up, and so I mean, how do we survive and thrive during a divorce other than alcohol?
Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to kind of go through. I hate to say it, some of the bad stuff, and it just comes with the territory. Breaking up with somebody you've been with for a long time is never easy, especially when there's young children involved. But sometimes things have just run their course. Sometimes things are not working out. Sometimes you're on different pages. Sometimes there's betrayal. It could be an array of things. But the important thing to know is that this is temporary. It's a pit stop. It's not the big picture. And when you're going through it, you always have to keep in mind, what is it that you want? Keep making lists. Journal. Journaling is a big thing. Write down the things you want. Focus on those. And
The car,
make them
the house, the bank account. Is that the list we need to make? Just asking.
You know, when it comes time to dividing up those things, such as the assets and the money and the property, you have to set realistic goals. I tell people all the time, guys, you're not leaving her nothing. She's walking away with something. And women, the days of taking everything doesn't exist. But the way you can come out ahead is get in, get out quickly. Don't give it to the lawyers. Give it back to yourselves. Compromise. I know it's hard when there's raw emotions that are right in front of you and are taking over. But look at it this way. You give him something, he'll give you something. And who would you rather get? Who would rather get it? You guys or the team that you hired? Take it and run.
That's the truth on that, because I had a buddy of mine, him and his wife divorced, and, man, they fought over the kids for a long time because neither one of them wanted
That's
them.
sad. Oh, neither one.
They're like,
well, that's another thing I try to tell people. When you're dealing with custody, remember, kids didn't ask to be involved in this. Don't involve them. Don't involve them. Don't involve them. There's a really good film people should watch by Ellen Bruno. It was a 28-minute documentary called Splitting. And she basically had 12 children, young, from 12 years and younger, talk about their parents' divorce. And when you hear it from a child, you might just think twice about how you handle things in front of your own kids. Yeah. Let them make their own decisions and let them spend time with both. And here's the beauty of it. And I hear this more from women. Women have a tendency to juggle more. We deal more with the carpools and the birthday parties, the sleepovers, the play dates. And now all of a sudden you have this free time because the kids aren't around. Maybe they're with your ex on this weekend. Take it, run, enjoy your downtime that you finally have. Meet friends, go date, treat yourself to a manicure, a massage. Go back to the gym if it's friendly right now with COVID, and the guidelines are in place. But do things for yourself. You'll see you become a better parent because you're not as stressed from the lack of time that you never had. You have to learn how to embrace this period as opposed to letting it get the best of you and letting that anger fester.
But we had actually a couple of weeks ago here in our county, we had a domestic violence issue where actually the young lady was shot. She survived, thank God. But now that's another thing on the violence on the divorce. I mean, what's your take on that?
Domestic violence is on the rise. It's very sad. It hits home for me. It's very personal. The one thing I can tell women, especially women, and look, it happens to men too, but women a lot more, is you have to report these incidents. You have to document. When they say there's an app for that, there is an app on your phone that you can download where you can tape record. Just don't let the other side know that you're doing it. If you can bring that as proof and evidence, get an order of protection. It's the best weapon of defense you have. Sometimes these things get out of control, but your life is a lot more important than anything else.
This, Packy's just, how long have you been married, Packy?
Almost a year.
He's been married a year. He's a newlywed.
But I don't bring anything to the marriage. I have like a Star Wars action figure collection, and that's about all I got. So, she pretty much pays for everything else.
But now, when they get into a squabble, he just...
She beats me up.
He just plays dead.
Is playing dead healthy?
Walking away from conflict is healthy.
See, I'm one of the kind of fellas like and normally I am wrong. I normally end up wrong all the time, but I don't give up. Even though I'm wrong and I know I'm wrong, I still just argue.
Steven's that man that never learns, Most men learn after a few years that they should just back down. Not Steven.
Not me.
On a more serious note, though, and because we're coming into the time of the year when we see a lot of this with our organizations that raise money for domestic violence, we have a couple of really good organizations locally like REACH. So if someone's in trouble, they can get help. And I think that's really important to know that.
And that's what people need to know, that there is help. People don't think that there is, but there is. There's so many different organizations. I've written about it. There's also the National Domestic Hotline that people can call and get help. There's all types of places you can go to connect with people online, support groups, therapy. So the best thing I can tell people is find those resources and get it. And the other thing is, if you feel your life is in danger, if you feel that somebody is threatening you or putting you in harm's way, you have to report it.
So now you're on this. You're actually the co-host on All Things Divorce on Clubhouse. If somebody wanted to follow you or get and then you do this the other thing, how to survive and thrive during a divorce. How do they get in touch with you or follow what you're doing where they can get, because you got a lot of cool information on this.
It's really easy. Just go to my name, Ilyssa Panitz. It's pretty easy to find, just on Google, and everything will pop up. I'm on all platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. I post all the articles there. And all that information is free. It's available. We love people who come into Clubhouse. We line up experts for every single show. And we want people who are going through it to ask them questions. We get lawyers, therapists, child experts, financial people, real estate people, anybody and everybody who can give folks, it's almost like a free consultation. And you don't even have to pay for it. You just come in, pop in, listen to what they have to say. There's an icon on the bottom of your phone screen where you can raise your hand, ask us a question. We do it every Wednesday, 7 o'clock Eastern, Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to keep doing it, whether it's my daily column, whether it's this show, whether it's through the National Association of Divorce Professionals, anything and everything I can do to give people that guidance and that roadmap through this complicated maze. Because it is. It's a very narrow, it's a very dark, complicated maze that people can't get out of. And I remember when I was going through my own 3-year divorce, and it was horrific. If one more person told me, but Ilyssa, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, I thought I was going to fly across the table and wring somebody's neck out. But the truth is, it is. And that's why I created all these different platforms, and I will continue to create more. I want people to know that there's help. I don't want people to make the same mistakes that can be very costly to them financially, emotionally, mentally. I want to help people as much as possible.
Well, now tell me this. I might be wrong about this, but I'm thinking that somewhere I read that divorce is one of the most stressful things that you can possibly go through, even with the death of a parent.
It is, because, with death, and I hate to say this, we know it's final. We know we're never going to see that person again, but what we do have are the memories. With divorce, you know that the other side is going to move on, and that can be hurtful, especially if it's been a painful one and a contentious one, and you have children and you still have to deal with them. You still have to see them. There's a possibility you can run into them. And no matter how much time has passed, for some people, those raw emotions surface and get the best of us. So it is very hard. People see it as breaking up a family. I don't see it that way. It's just the family picture is going to look a little bit different, but you're all still a family.
Right.
And nowadays there's a lot of blended families, and people do really, really well. Take, for example, Tom Brady last night, who won his 7th Super Bowl. He had a child from somebody else and has 2 children now with his current wife. But you know what? They're a blended family, and they learned how to survive and thrive. And everybody, after a little bit of a few challenges that they faced, they all got on a good page. And now everybody's getting along, and they're doing really well.
Well, girl, I sure do appreciate you calling in. I know a lot of people out there is listening to this that went through a divorce or are going through a divorce now. And so now y'all can kind of get a little bit of relief or some direction if you'll just look her up. And I sure do appreciate you calling in, girl. We're about up here at the time to take a break.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll get you back on because this is an ongoing thing. Yeah, this is an ongoing thing.
Oh, it's a never-ending thing.
Yeah, and she's
yeah, unfortunately. We're trying to get rid of COVID, and hopefully we will, but unfortunately divorce, it's always going to be around. That's why I will always be around giving people as many tips and suggestions as possible to help them.
All right, girl. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you for listening. This is Stephen Phillips, host of The Morning Dish. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel because we have a lot more interviews out there to listen to. Plus, you can listen online every morning at WJULradio.com or Lake 97.7 WJUL. And give us a like on our Facebook page, The Morning Dish.